Just before heading back into his criminal trial, Donald Trump erupted.
No judge except this one would allow this case to continue. He's corrupt.
And this was nothing compared to Trump's meltdown hours earlier on Truth Social. Donald Trump doesn't freeze. It's a made-up Biden campaign story. Trump was lashing out at widespread ridicule for this pause near the end of his speech to the National Rifle Association.
In the history of the world, but now we are a nation in decline.
The Biden campaign put out a fake story that I froze for 30 seconds going into the musical interlude section, when in actuality the 30 to 60 second period of silence is standard in every one of my speeches where we use the music. Check out any of my speeches. And while it is true that Donald Trump often pauses in his speeches as dramatic music rolls in, Trump usually doesn't pause for as long as he did in the NRA speech. The reason they came up with this disinformation is that Biden freezes all the time, can't put two sentences together, and can rarely find his way off stage without help. Donald Trump doesn't freeze. Except in his criminal trial, where Trump makes this complaint literally every day court is in session.
I'm sitting in a very freezing cold courtroom for the last 4 weeks. It's very unfair. I tell Iowa, I'm sorry, I won't be able to make it. I tell New Hampshire, sorry, I won't be able to make it. I'm sitting in an ice box all day.
Anyway, back to the icy and lengthy pause at the NRA convention. My sense is that this wasn't a Trump brain freeze as much as a technical or teleprompter malfunction. And that kind of glitch happened in Donald Trump's speech the night before in Minnesota.
But this happens to be, look, the teleprompter is useless. It fell down. I don't know why it fell down. It's not like, I don't mind, I've lost teleprompters to wind. There's no wind in here. So why the hell did it fall down? Did you see it? It fell down. I'm standing here listening to the great Lee Greenwood, and the teleprompter falls off the stage. Now I put my hand on this thing, and the thing tilts over. This is not, I think it was Emmer. Maybe Emmer doesn't like me. No, this sucker is really tenuous, I'm telling you. This, at some point, I won't leave, and we'll finish up, but this sucker is going to be sitting down there on the floor. I've never had this before. I've never had a podium that's falling down.
In other words, Trump had a weekend where things did not go well. Equipment malfunctioned, his teleprompter broke, and he got widespread ridicule for the lengthy and rather strange pause at the NRA speech. So Trump was possibly in a foul mood. And then he had to report back to criminal court in New York Monday morning, and Trump was seething.
This case should be dismissed. It should have never been brought. And the judge is highly conflicted. He's a corrupt judge. He's highly conflicted. He's totally corrupt, and he's interfering with an election.
Polls show Trump and Biden are even, although several surveys show a significant number of voters will abandon Trump if he is convicted in any of his criminal trials. In the New York hush money case, where Donald Trump stands accused of falsifying business records, Trump could soon face more ridicule even before the jury reaches a verdict. Before the trial began, Donald Trump indicated that he intended to testify. But legal experts say that would be a terrible idea, and that Trump's bombastic nature would probably backfire with the jury, risk perjury, or perhaps even open Trump up to further prosecution. But not taking the stand underscores that Donald Trump is often full of hot air and that his claims and pronouncements are not to be believed. Plus, Trump is already facing taunts that he is scared and fearful. A centrist group called The Third Way is now running this television ad in New York.
Donald Trump would never plead the Fifth Amendment.
The mob takes the Fifth. If you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment?
Now he's on trial for hiding hush money payments to a porn star. But he won't take the stand. Donald, why won't you testify? After all, you believe only guilty cowards take the Fifth.
Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment. Horrible. Horrible.
Take the stand, Donald, or admit you're a coward.
On top of the ridicule that he is a coward, Donald Trump is facing a larger view political ad from the Lincoln Project. And this spot targets voters.
Ever feel like a loser? A sucker. Someone who got played. You should. Because if you still support Trump, that's what you are. You got played by this guy. All his promises, come on. They're as real as his hair. He never built the wall. He never did the trade deals. He was never going to. It was all a show. A con game. He said you'd get tired of winning, but you're just tired. Tired of giving him money to pay for his lawyers. Tired of watching him embarrass you. Tired of his lies, his lawsuits, his trouble. Tired of defending a man who doesn't deserve your support. You know he won't change. You know he's the architect of all his problems. But he thinks you're gullible, that you can't figure him out. If you keep supporting him, you're proving him right.
Amidst all of the legal and political pressure, it may be understandable that Donald Trump loses his cool over claims that he glitched out in a speech. However, by exploding at the ridicule over his NRA speech pause, Donald Trump has drawn more attention to it, and the Biden campaign could not be happier. They tweeted, "Trump melts down over this clip we posted showing himself freezing on stage, claiming it's a fake story. He did, in fact, freeze on stage." The questions and the focus on Donald Trump perhaps having dementia could neutralize claims that President Biden has lost a step or two. Because if both candidates are seen as old and occasionally confused, the issue becomes a wash. And the bottom line is whether Donald Trump has dementia or not, he certainly has a volatile temper, and Trump keeps melting down. By the way, Donald Trump supporters who showed up at the courthouse recently generated widespread ridicule when their protest antics. At the Trump trial, it was the climax to a schlong week. MAGA faithful whipped out these penis balloons in protest. They were not realistic, of course, based on Stormy Daniels' assertions of thumb-sized.
Dozens of balloons.
But in a nutshell, they did come to represent Trump overpromising, given that several could not get up.
Republican candidate for President of the United States is going through mental anguish in a courtroom that's very depressing.
Trump reportedly encouraged the GOP exposure, and it began this week with the most powerful Johnson.
President Trump is a friend, and I wanted to be here to support him. I'm here speaking with you outside because the court won't allow us to speak inside the building.
Poor Johnson. He cannot go inside and deliver his point widespread.
If Alvin Bragg thinks the American people will believe these absurd charges, take a look at the turnout at Trump events.
A lot of puns and double entendres. Check out that video at the link below. It sparked a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Fierce Parador, who wrote, "Conservatives still stuck on stupid till time ends." I hear you. I look forward to reading your comments about Donald Trump exploding over the ridicule of his freezing on stage. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.